Emma and David Sullivan had been married for 12 years. Emma, a vibrant 34-year-old woman, was known for her outgoing personality and her demanding career as a marketing executive in a bustling city. David, 36, was a reserved but diligent financial analyst. Their life together had been marked by a comfortable suburban home, successful careers, and a network of friends who saw them as the epitome of a successful couple. However, beneath the polished exterior, cracks had begun to appear in their marriage. Emma had always been ambitious and driven, often pushing her personal life to the sidelines in favor of her career. David, on the other hand, was more of a homebody, finding contentment in the simple pleasures of life and valuing stability above all else. Over the years, their differing priorities began to create distance between them. Emma's frequent business trips and late nights at the office became a norm, while David spent more time alone at home. The emotional chasm between them widened, but neither had addressed the growing strain in their relationship. It all started one summer when Emma decided to take a break from her hectic schedule. She had been dating someone on the side, a charming entrepreneur named Max, whom she met during a business conference. Max was everything David was not: spontaneous, adventurous, and completely engrossed in Emma. They'd planned a secret getaway to a picturesque beach town, far from the scrutinizing eyes of their everyday lives. The sun was setting on a balmy evening, and Emma was lounging by the pool at their rented beach house. She had been having a delightful time with Max, savoring the romantic moments and the freedom from her everyday responsibilities. However, her relaxation was abruptly interrupted when she attempted to make a purchase at a local cafe and found her bank card declined. At first, Emma thought it was a simple error. She tried another card, and then another, but to her dismay, all were blocked. A sinking feeling of panic set in. Emma had been so engrossed in her escape from reality that she hadn't checked her financial accounts in days. With only $10 in cash left, she felt the weight of her predicament. Desperate for help, Emma reached out to David, hoping he could sort out the issue from afar. She dialed his number, her heart pounding as she waited for him to pick up. When David answered, his voice was calm, almost eerily so. "Hey, it's me," Emma said, trying to sound casual despite her anxiety. "I'm in a bit of a situation. My bank cards have been blocked, and I only have $10 cash on me. Can you send me some money to tide me over until I figure this out?" David's response was not what Emma had expected. His voice was steady, but his words cut through the air with a chilling detachment. "Doesn't your lover make enough to cover your bills?" he asked. There was a pause, and Emma could hear the faint sound of David's breathing on the other end. "By the way, I sent your stuff to his house. You've been evicted." The shock of David's words left Emma momentarily speechless. She felt a mix of humiliation and anger. "David, you can't be serious," she stammered. "I need to get this sorted out. Why would you do this?" David's reply was cold and final. "I'm dead serious. I've had enough of your lies and deceit. I don't want you in our home any longer. You need to figure things out with Max. I'm done with this." Emma's world seemed to collapse in that instant. She could hardly believe the severity of David's actions. The reality of being cut off from her home and her financial resources hit hard. She glanced at Max, who had been watching the exchange with growing concern. His initial sympathy turned into frustration as he absorbed the gravity of the situation. As the days passed, Emma faced the stark reality of her new life. With nowhere to go and her belongings now at Max's place, she had to confront the consequences of her choices. Her marriage was effectively over, and her financial stability was in jeopardy. Max, who had initially been an escape from her troubles, was now a reminder of the mess she had created. David, meanwhile, continued with his life, resolute in his decision. His actions, though harsh, became the talk of the town. The story of his revenge, shared widely on social media and news platforms, sparked debates about justice, betrayal, and the lengths to which one could go to assert their dignity. Emma's predicament became a cautionary tale for many, illustrating the destructive potential of infidelity and the importance of addressing underlying issues before they spiraled out of control. As she navigated this new chapter in her life, she was left to reflect on the choices that had led her to this point and the painful lessons learned from her betrayal. Emma Sullivan's new reality was harsh and unforgiving. Stranded in a small beach town with Max, she grappled with the fallout of David's drastic decision. Her attempts to salvage the situation were met with increasing difficulty as she faced mounting pressure from all sides. Max, initially sympathetic, was growing increasingly frustrated. He had been Emma's refuge from her crumbling marriage, but now he was left dealing with the tangible consequences of her actions. The beach house, once a sanctuary, felt more like a prison as Emma struggled to come to terms with her predicament. Max's patience wore thin as the days passed. One evening, as they sat on the porch overlooking the ocean, Emma's anxiety was palpable. Max was reviewing the details of their situation. The reality of Emma's eviction and the mounting bills had started to take its toll. "Emma," Max said, his voice edged with irritation, "I didn't sign up for this. You need to figure things out with David. I can't keep covering your expenses while you sort out your mess." Emma's face flushed with a mixture of embarrassment and frustration. "I know, Max, but I'm trying. I didn't expect David to react like this. I thought he would at least be reasonable." "He's gone too far." Max's skepticism grew. "Reasonable? He's had enough of your lies. You need to face the consequences of your actions. I'm here for you, but there's only so much I can do." Emma's pleas for understanding fell on deaf ears. She knew Max had a point, but the gravity of her situation was overwhelming. Without access to her financial resources and with her personal belongings now in Max's possession, she felt cornered and exposed. Back in the city, David's decision had ignited a storm of reactions. As news of his revenge spread, it quickly became the subject of widespread discussion. Social media platforms buzzed with posts, memes, and heated debates about the fairness and morality of David's actions. Some viewed him as a hero, a man who stood up for himself and asserted his dignity. Others criticized him for his lack of compassion and for making a personal matter so public. David, unaffected by the frenzy, continued with his life. His resolve was unwavering. He had taken a bold step to reclaim his sense of self-worth and was determined to stick to his decision. Friends and colleagues reached out to him, offering support and sharing their views on the situation. Many praised him for his strength and for drawing a clear line in the sand. Emma's attempts to reconcile with David were met with resistance. She called him repeatedly, sending heartfelt messages and begging for a chance to talk things over. David, however, remained firm. He had made his decision and was unwilling to reconsider. His responses were curt, offering no room for negotiation. As the weeks passed, Emma found herself increasingly isolated. Her professional life, once stable, began to falter. Her focus was fractured, and she struggled to maintain her usual level of performance at work. Colleagues and clients noticed her distraction and the lack of engagement, which led to strained relationships and missed opportunities. Emma also had to confront the reality of her diminished social circle. Friends who had once been supportive now avoided her, unsure of how to handle the situation. The judgment and whispers behind closed doors only added to her sense of isolation. The glamorous facade she had carefully maintained began to crumble, exposing the raw vulnerability she had tried to hide. Max's patience with Emma continued to wane. The constant strain of their situation and the mounting financial pressures led to frequent arguments. Max felt increasingly burdened by the unexpected responsibilities and the emotional toll of the situation. The romance that had once seemed so promising was overshadowed by the weight of reality. In an attempt to regain some semblance of normalcy, Emma tried to reach out to her old friends and family for support. She needed a place to stay and hoped that someone might offer her a lifeline. However, the choices she had made left her with limited options. The trust she had once enjoyed was now compromised, and many were reluctant to involve themselves in the mess she had created. As Emma navigated this turbulent period, she began to reflect on her actions and their repercussions. The betrayal she had committed against David and the resulting fallout had forced her to confront the consequences of her decisions. The glamorous life she had once taken for granted now seemed distant and unattainable. David's actions, though harsh, had served as a wake-up call for Emma. She realized the extent of her mistakes and the profound impact they had on her life. The viral attention surrounding David's revenge only added to the sense of public scrutiny she faced. The story became a cautionary tale, illustrating the destructive nature of infidelity and the importance of addressing underlying issues before they spiraled out of control. Emma's life had irrevocably changed. The comfort and security she once knew were gone, replaced by uncertainty and hardship. As she faced the aftermath of her choices, she was left to rebuild her life from the ground up, confronting the painful lessons learned from her betrayal and striving to find a path forward amidst the wreckage. The aftermath of David's dramatic decision left Emma Sullivan grappling with a reality she had never anticipated. As the weeks turned into months, the consequences of her actions continued to ripple through every facet of her life. With her marriage dissolved, her finances in disarray, and her personal reputation in tatters, Emma faced the monumental task of rebuilding her life from the ground up. Emma's relationship with Max, once a beacon of escape from her troubles, had deteriorated significantly. Their initial connection was now overshadowed by the strain of their circumstances. Max had tried to be supportive, but the ongoing financial burdens and emotional stress took a toll on their relationship. They argued frequently, and the romance that had once seemed so promising became fraught with tension. One evening, as they sat in the dimly lit living room of the beach house, Max's frustration came to a head. "Emma, this isn't working. I've done everything I can to help, but this situation is dragging us both down," he said, his voice laced with exasperation. Emma looked at him, her face etched with exhaustion. "I know, Max. I'm trying to figure things out, but it's not easy. David's made it so difficult. I never expected things to turn out like this." Max shook his head, his frustration evident. "It's not just David, it's the choices you made. You need to face the consequences and take responsibility. I can't keep bailing you out while you sort out your mess." The conversation marked a turning point in their relationship. The strain of their situation became too much for Max to bear, and he ultimately decided to end their relationship. Emma, though devastated, knew deep down that Max's decision was inevitable. Their relationship had been built on shaky foundations, and the weight of her past actions had proved too heavy for them to overcome. With her romantic relationship in ruins, Emma was left to confront the harsh reality of her situation. Her attempts to reach out to David had been met with silence. He had remained steadfast in his decision to end their marriage, refusing to engage in any form of reconciliation. His resolve was unyielding, and he continued to live his life without looking back. The public attention surrounding David's decision had not waned. The story of his revenge had continued to captivate the public, with various media outlets reporting on the ongoing fallout. Some viewed him as a symbol of justice and personal empowerment, while others criticized him for his perceived lack of compassion. The debate raged on, but for David, the matter was settled. He had moved on, finding solace in his renewed sense of self-worth and control. Emma, on the other hand, was left to pick up the pieces. She realized that she needed to make significant changes in her life to move forward. She decided to seek therapy to address the underlying issues that had led to her infidelity and the subsequent collapse of her marriage. Through therapy, Emma began to confront her own flaws and the reasons behind her actions. It was a painful but necessary process as she delved into her past choices and the impact they had on her life. In addition to therapy, Emma focused on rebuilding her career. Her professional life had suffered greatly due to the turmoil in her personal life. She started by reaching out to her former colleagues and clients, working hard to regain their trust and confidence. It was a slow and arduous process, but Emma was determined to restore her reputation and rebuild her career. She dedicated herself to her work with renewed vigor, channeling her energy into projects and initiatives that would help her regain her professional footing. As months passed, Emma gradually began to see small improvements in her life. She secured a new apartment in a different part of town, one that offered a fresh start and a sense of independence. Her financial situation slowly improved as she managed to stabilize her income and address her debts. Emma began to reconnect with old friends and family, working to mend the relationships that had been strained by her actions. The process was neither quick nor easy, but it marked a significant step towards healing and self-redemption. Despite the progress she was making, Emma knew that the road to full recovery was long and challenging. She had lost a lot: her marriage, her relationship with Max, and her public image. Yet through her journey, she learned valuable lessons about accountability, resilience, and the importance of addressing personal flaws. David's life continued without Emma. He found new opportunities and focused on his own growth and well-being. The viral story of his revenge had served its purpose, but for him, it was a chapter that had closed. He had moved on, embracing a future that was free from the shadows of his past. In the end, Emma's story became a cautionary tale for many. It illustrated the destructive power of infidelity and the profound impact it could have on all parties involved. The fallout from her actions had reshaped her life in ways she had never anticipated, but it also provided her with an opportunity for self-reflection and growth. As she looked back on her journey, Emma recognized that while the path had been fraught with challenges, it had also led her to a place of greater self-awareness and personal strength. The resolution of her story was not one of complete redemption, but of ongoing transformation. Emma had faced the consequences of her actions head-on and was committed to forging a new path, one that was defined by integrity, resilience, and a deeper understanding of herself.